Wicked. Wicked.
Wicked? Question mark. Yellow Brick Road. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
We deserve each other.
He sounded like Kermit the Frog.
He's evil. He's terrifying. Love that, by the way. Welcome to The Film Angle, a podcast where we dive deep into the latest releases and unearth the classics to better our cinephilic curiosity. I'm Alex.
And I'm Kris.
And today, it's the episode you've been waiting a year for.
Mm-hmm.
We are finally getting round. I say finally getting round, it only just came out, but Wicked for good.
Yeah, the sequel to Alex and I falling out a year ago.
Yeah.
It was a battle for the ages. The lines in the sand were drawn, and we're here to reconcile, to fight it out again. I don't know, closure definitely.
We'll definitely be doing something. And we'll be finally putting this whole Wicked thing to bed. So yeah, for context, guys, last year, when the Wicked Part 1 came out, Kris and I were left divided. Kris, a long-time lover of The Wizard of Oz, was kind of, I would say, swept away in the Wicked fever, and was a pretty big fan of Part 1, whereas I, not a massive Wizard of Oz fan, and haven't seen the stage musical, which you also have, Kris, was not as swept away with the Wicked fever that took on the world.
Yeah.
So here we are, and I think we've both watched the film since, so maybe we could talk about like that in a minute. But Wicked.
Wicked? Question mark.
Did you re-listen to our episode before coming on today?
I don't re-listen to any of our episodes.
Do you know, I don't usually, but I thought, you know what, this one I want to, so I did actually listen to our Wicked episode the other day.
Okay.
And it was interesting. It was interesting to hear. And I think potentially because we started off with reviewing The Wizard of Oz first, I think that put you in like a good stead because you were on a Wizard of Oz high. I think it's famously one of your favorite films, right?
Yeah, it's safe to say like it was the first old school musical that I kind of grew up with. Musicals being a really big thing in our household growing up with two older sisters, but we had this Wizard of Oz in VHS, and I was completely like absolutely kind of amazed by it. Even at the time, when you're that age, you don't really notice that you're amazed by something, but you keep going back to it and you keep watching it, and there's something alluring about Oz, certainly in that 1939 depiction. And that transcends to adulthood too. I still love this movie. I think it's one of the most wonderful gifts of cinema, despite its turbulent origins and how it was constructed. And I think a lot of people love to flood social media with like saying, "Do you know that it was asbestos that they were using in that film?" And like, yes, we all know that by now. But you remove all those factors that made all those old Hollywood movies very troubling. And it's a wonderful piece of art, I think, and really one of the earliest depictions of really capturing like a dream state in a really whimsical but scary, but in a way that's kind of leads to somewhere where you kind of come out at the end of it and you have learned something as a child. You kind of go for that journey that Dorothy goes through, and then we kind of go. There's been different depictions of the Wizard of Oz story throughout the years, definitely in cinema. And it's always been a hard cookie to crack, right? And Wicked, I think the original book came out in 1995, and then since was adapted to a Broadway show in 2003, everybody knows this by now. And the Broadway format for this show, which has always been like a fan fiction story, what's the story? What if the Wicked Witch of the West was actually good and she was misrepresented, misunderstood?
And very different in the book as well, right? Like the adaptation from book to musical is completely
Yeah.
it almost completely changed the story. Whereas I think that seems to be quite an amusing thing on social media. Again, is kind of many people picking up the book and going,
Good
"What?"
talk. Yeah. And then there's subsequent sequels to the Wicked books as well.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
remember my eldest sister Naomi had read all those books back when they were kind of popular in the early 2000s. And there's like one about the Wicked Witch of the West Sun. Like it's like I think one of the books is
Oh,
just about him. And it's
oh.
like and then the front cover of it's very gothic and he looks like Dorian Gray and it's like, "Oh, what's this thing?" And so yeah, that kind of goes in a different, darker direction where I think the stage play is famous for being a lot more literal and a lot
Yeah.
more, you know, it's not very nuanced. It's very big, broad emotions. But
Mhm.
so my memory of the stage show is that works perfectly fine. That works really,
Mm,
really well because it's a stage show, it's a musical. You're there
mhm,
for the big numbers and you fill in the blanks. And you're not there for the hardcore writing and the world building to completely make sense all the time. But and I think John M. Chu's first film, Wicked Part 1, does a really good job, at least the first half of the show being entertaining, light on its feet, kind of dizzying, and kind of this sort of like carnival of a movie. That's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of ideas. And it was always the worry that they were splitting this movie into two because the stage show, from my memory and everybody else's memory, the second half was always the dud. The part of the
mm,
show that kind of didn't have as good the musical numbers and was rushing us to the finish line. And then we get a good payoff of the nice song at the end, and that's kind of it. But the
mm.
first half of the show was so good that it kind of makes up for the rest of it, and you kind of think, oh well, the second half wasn't as good, but we had fun anyway.
Overall, it all happened within 2.5, 3 hours. I had a
Yeah,
good time.
exactly,
I
exactly.
didn't have to wait a year between act 1 and act 2.
Sure, sure. And then so like my experience of part one was just like total surprise because I thought this is so unadaptable. It's like it doesn't make sense that they're making this into a film, let alone two. It seemed like a really, really big mistake. And then I kind of at my lunch, I was so surprised by the first movie being a lot of
Mm,
fun. And yeah, we talked about that in the last episode a year ago. And I think a lot of my enthusiasm just came out of being surprised. I was so
mm.
surprised by it. And yes, subsequent revisit kind of timid me down a little bit more. Um, but I still enjoy it. I think it's still a good movie and as good as an adaptation of the first half of the show could be, possibly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I probably agree with you mostly, having watched it again recently.
Uh,
I was kind of my issues with the first still land, and, I think because this wants to be a faithful adaptation to the stage musical, there are just, like, moments that just don't really work in a film, and I think the whole film itself struggles with the element of time and putting these characters into place and really wants the audience just to kind of like go with the flow rather than like truly set up anything like practical. Like Glinda and Elphaba's friendship in that first film feels like it's a 2-day thing, and then she's off to see the wizard, and
sure.
then everything goes to shit. So it's kind of like I never fully believed in everything, despite the fact that Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande have this fantastic connection within the film and clearly outside of the film as well. But like that presence is very obvious to see, and like so you're kind of again it's kind of like you're jumping onto the emotional wave, but really when you just look at the film as a film, you can kind of pick it apart quite easily. So that's kind of how I felt. That being said, watching again at home, I could turn the music up a little bit,
Yeah,
have it
yeah,
kind of booming, and some of those songs really are quite impactful and really work well for me. And I do find the middle of Wicked Part 1 to be really good. All the stuff with the dance, the
yeah,
songs that follow after that. And then, like I think anytime it starts like being more Wizard of Ozzy,
sure.
when we're off to see the
Slavishly,
wizard,
yeah.
he's trying to decide the color of the road, blah blah blah. Like
Oh,
that kind of stuff
yeah.
doesn't work for me.
Yellow brick road. Yeah, yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
It's got a ring to it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then obviously the final number is fantastic.
Yeah.
what's it called? The
Defying
flying song.
Gravity, yeah.
Defying Gravity.
Alex, come
I'm
on.
sorry, I couldn't. I had a brain fart for that minute. The flying song. Yeah, Defying Gravity is great. I do sing that one a lot as well. So it's a proper earworm. That.
I would say,
Um,
like, most of the songs are earworms, like, I do find myself, like, even though we'll talk about part 2 in a minute really in depth, but, even despite my maybe experience with that half of the story, I still find myself kinda like, "Oh, I'm still humming Wicked around the house a little bit."
mm,
But
mm.
there are definitely more part 1 songs, 100%. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Lots of The Wizard and I, and We Deserve Each Other.
He sounded like Kermit the Frog.
We deserve each other. Me
Lauren
and Miss Piggy and Bach.
Bach. And I think Lauren was saying that afterwards, she's like, "I know they've done Muppets Wizard of Oz, but, like,
Have they?
Maybe Muppets Wicked would work better too."
Have they done Muppets Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, I think it was, like, 15 years ago sort of thing, yeah.
Stop this show. Wait a second. The Muppets
I'm pretty
Wizard of Oz?
sure. Get me
I
making that up.
need. It's a TV film. How have I not seen
Yeah, that's
this?
right, it went straight to TV, yeah.
2005? How did I
Yeah.
miss this? The cast is Quentin Tarantino in it?
Has it?
Shut the front door, Chris. What is happening?
I forget this thing. I remember watching it, like, on the Disney Channel when I was a kid.
The film stars Ashanti, Jeffrey Tambor, Quentin Tarantino, David Alan Grier, and Queen Latifah.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds right.
Quentin Tarantino is third on the billing. Who does he play?
I don't know. I can't
He
even remember
plays
him in the movie.
himself. Quentin Tarantino as himself in a short appearance with
Oh,
Kermit the Frog. Tarantino discusses violent ideas on how to stop the Wicked Witch of the West.
yeah, I don't think this was supposed to be a terribly good Muppets movie, hence why you probably haven't heard of it. Um, yeah,
30% on Rotten Tomatoes, 5.2 on IMDb.
yeah, not great then.
Oh my god, I need to watch this. I thought I was done with the Wizard of Oz. I need to watch this.
Fozzie Bear as the lion, yeah, yeah,
Oh
go
my god. Oh my goodness. Are we watching this? Are we watching this over New Year?
like, I've been struggling to make you like the original Wizard of Oz. I don't want you to hate it more.
I think I could get on board with the Muppets Wizard of Oz. I think I can get on board with the Muppets anything,
Yeah,
Chris.
same, to be fair.
All right. Sorry, I really went off on one there because what did you say? Muppets Wicked would be good. I agree.
Yeah, but then, like, the whole thing about it is that she's green and everybody's weirded out by that in a world full of talking animals. Um, but
Mm,
it's like, yeah, I don't know. Even that sort of logic's flawed. Once you start to apply logic to Wicked, it really starts to kind of fall apart, right? Um, and one thing that really struck me rewatching the first film, and certainly the second film, was its world building or lack of actually. Um, it seems to think that there's three locations: Shiz University, uh,
hmm
Munchkin Land, and Emerald City, and that's pretty much it.
Yes.
But there's a feeling that, like, these opening shots of the first film, it's wide, expansive. We're getting going through these vistas, and we're supposed to believe that Oz is a at least like a continent sized place, right?
Mm.
Um, and I'm just kind of confused, like, where we're like, am I getting too bogged down with the geography of this thing? Am I
No,
thinking too much about that?
no, I don't think that's an issue at all. I think that's a problem that becomes more apparent in the second film as you're trying to fully understand Oz and its people and whether they're just like massive gullible racists or not. Where you're trying to understand like why do we care about Oz? But
Uh,
maybe we should just kind of like if we tee up the second film, then we can like properly get into that maybe.
yeah, of course, yeah,
Well, for the first film, you know, the Wicked Witch. We shouldn't even call her the Wicked Witch of the West, should we? Elphaba is green, and that is different in this world where there are talking animals. But also, talking animals is becoming a thing that is not a thing anymore. I'm doing
yeah,
a really terrible job of explaining the plot to Wicked One. Uh, Elphaba turns up to Shiz University.
yeah,
Glinda, who is kind of like the very popular. Everybody loves her. She's destined for greatness. Um, Star student is there. She wants to get into magic, but she doesn't actually have any magic abilities. Elphaba turns up just to drop her sister off, but ends up showcasing some of her powers, which she has, and she's very powerful with magic. To which case, Madame Morrible wants to keep her in Shiz University and teach her as well. And it just so happens her and Glinda get paired up in the same room, and the tension of their kind of differing sides, green and pink, leads them to have this kind of relationship that goes from hating one another to soon understanding one another and
Mhm.
becoming besties before
Oh,
Elphaba gets a invitation to Emerald City to meet the wizard, to which he wants to kind of use her
yeah,
and
yeah.
her magical powers to do things.
Weaponizer to there's a magic ancient book called
Grimmery.
the Grimoire, which nobody is able to kind of read properly or kind
Mhm.
of cast these spells that would change or make the Emerald City, the Wizard of Oz, and more and Madame Morrible the most powerful people in the land and able to control everybody. So they want to weaponize alphabet. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, and Elphaba's like, I can help you out, but like, I also want some help with the animals who are being rounded up and stolen and pushed to the side. To which that isn't really an option for the wizard. Which I mean, we'll get into, but I don't really understand why. But we can get into all that later.
Yeah,
To which case,
yeah.
Elphaba's then on the run, and she defies gravity by turning a broom into a broomstick and flying off. And in doing so, the wizard, Madame Marble, all decide they can use this as propaganda and make her the villain of Oz. And they frame her as the Wicked Witch of the West.
Mhm.
And that is where we kind of leave part one and move into part two, where it's been, I think, a year since this has happened.
Enough time for a costume change, anyway.
100 clock ticks or whatever the new phrase is
Oh
in this
yeah,
film.
yeah, yeah. They're that's definitely a thing.
That's a thing that was not a thing in the first film. Saying a lot. Where, Elphaba is now kind of either the villain of this story, or if you are of the animals, she is kind of like a rebellion leader, potentially. For
Yeah, she's trying to rise the animals into rebellion, but they're like, "Eh."
Yeah.
Basically.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Glinda has now become Glinda the Good and is being used as basically state propaganda to whip up optimism and hope within Oz. Fiero, who was the love interest in part one to both Elphaba and Glinda, is kind of head of the guard now, and
Yeah,
he's
head of the guard dance troupe.
and being forced into marriage with Glinda
Yeah.
for the betterment of Oz.
Yeah.
Oh, is that kind of where we're set up?
That's pretty perfect actually,
I mean,
Alex.
there's more like
Did you just do
Bok,
that?
Bok and Nessa. They're doing stuff.
Yeah, Nessa. Ah.
Nessa,
Yeah. Yeah.
Elphaba's sister, who is in a wheelchair,
Mhm.
who she is very protective of in the first film. She is now the mayor of Munchkinland,
She's governor, yeah.
governor of Munchkinland, and Bok, who is kind of her reluctant love interest, was kind of semi forced into it, semi not by Glinda, to kind of appeal to her. She says, go over there and dance with Nessa. That would be
This
nice,
is
wouldn't
so
it?
paper thin. Like this bothered me straight away. Like how we got Bach into that situation or them two together. It's so like the relationships are so paper thin and so thinly set up that the only connection is that they were both at a dance and danced once, and suddenly now they're together a year later, and it's like it is like whatever, right?
Chris, they deserve each other.
Me and Bach. Yeah. Um,
You and me and you
yeah.
and Bach.
Or SpongeBob, in this case. Yeah, like so this was I think this is pretty much how the second stage half the stage show opens up actually.
Mm.
Um, but then it's like, when you watch the stage show, second start of the show starts and a light goes on the stage and Nessa's sitting in her wheelchair and she's got overtly aged up makeup on, and we've
Oh,
understood that time has gone by a little bit, and you're
okay.
like, that works. That works for that, right? You can kind of buy that, and you're like, okay, there's things I haven't seen. That's fine.
Mhm.
Um, but this film slavishly needs to like kind of explain in a kind of try to convince you that how we got here and why everyone's connected and how we're
Mm.
going, and especially later on, how it all connects back to that 1939 film.
Yeah, that's kinda where it goes off the rails, really. I didn't mind the start of this, and I think I've been trying to, like, wonder why I didn't mind the first hour of this film, and I think it's because it appeals to my comic book sensibilities,
Yeah. The opening is
because
like super. It's like she comes in like Superman at the beginning. Yeah.
well, it's not even that, it's more to do with, like, when there's a big event in comic books, like a big world-changing event, you then, you then kind of the next comic book is essentially going around to each of the characters that you
Yeah.
know the status quo of that character, and look at them and go, how would they be changed by this event? Why? And like, Doctor Doom now runs the world. How does Spider-Man react? How does Doctor Strange react? How does Iron Man react?
Sure.
That kind of thing happens in a big comic book event, but there's always this, you always know with a big thing like that, like the status quo will revert back to normal. So it's just kind of fun to explore why these characters have changed in specific ways to a big event. Obviously, here, the status quo is not going to return to the first film because we all know that it has to tie in to the Wizard of Oz and how that plays out.
Yeah.
So there's fun to be had, but also there's no going back as well.
No,
I don't know
there's
if I've
not.
explained it rightly, but I enjoyed that element of kind of being like, this is how Nessa would react. Seems like a massive 180 from her character in the first film, but okay, she's now kind of, even she's now racist to Munchkins.
Yeah. Yeah, because like, Bach makes it very clear to her that he still is in love with Glinda, and that he wants to, like, "Please, like, it's not gonna work. I need to leave your service, and I need to pursue this." And she goes, "Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Just leave now." And as soon as he goes out the door, puts in a legislation that bans all Munchkins from leaving and traveling out of Munchkin Land, and so which leaves him permanently in her service. That was kind of funny, actually.
It is kind of funny, and I guess that comes to the element of like, what is Oz, and why are they also racist, and then why are they also gullible? Why are they also moved along by propaganda? And maybe the film is obviously, there's a lot of stuff you could say it's trying to say about our own current state of affairs politically and globally, but also at the same time, I don't know, is it? It's kind of a little bit like the Running Man from the other week. It's kind of like diet politics glossed up as like blockbuster glossiness.
Hmm.
I
I
don't know
I
how to feel about it. Like
I
some of the allegories I like, but
exactly. I think the nuggets of ideas that it has in terms of political allegories, and there are parallels. You can't help but watch a movie, especially part two, and think of the parallels to our own reality right now. Consumerism, wars, and everything. And I think the wizard himself, Jeff Goldblum, his character is a big part of that. And I would actually say that my favorite musical number wasn't any of the big, no good deed goes unpunished or for good, but was actually the scene where he sings "Wonderful," and it's another sleazeball salesman pitch,
mm,
and again, it doesn't completely work, but it's sort of where I can sort of see it working, the allegory is working properly. I think the big issue is that John M. Chu and his cinematographer, I feels like they used a lot of their energy and spent a lot of that energy on part one. That
mhm,
we were so busy trying to pitch this to Universal, get this off the ground, and we really fully conceived of part one as an idea. It felt like that conversation happened. That okay, now we're at part two now. Okay, yeah, this is a bit tricky. Let's go through this and kind of work this out. And subsequently, the camera doesn't do a lot in this movie, I think, compared to the
Mm,
first one. You know, we think of that Dancing for Life number, which was a lot of fun, a lot of, silly set pieces with a rotating bookshelf. But the camera was moving everywhere. It was following Jonathan Bailey and like his dance moves. And it had this energy that In the Heights had whenever John M. Chu directed that film. And then it's like these songs are kind of directionless. We don't know what these songs are trying to say in part two or where our characters are with these songs. So, okay, let's just put the camera on them. Let's put it on their face and just follow them while they sing this entire song and maybe cut back and forth a few times. And it becomes a movie where a lot of people sitting in rooms looking at themselves in the mirror and thinking about their actions and it just seems like a big deflation of the first movie. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't help that the music numbers don't really hit the heights of like nearly any of the music numbers in part one. So there's like the energy is lower anyway
Yeah.
because it is a darker second act. But then, music numbers like No Good Deed are probably your most kind of moments comparable to part one in terms of like production, blah blah blah. But it's very CGI heavy because it's mainly Alphabet and a bunch of flying monkeys in
Yeah.
like a derelict castle. So
Yeah.
none of that feels real because none of it probably is real. Whereas dancing through life, the sets feel real. The bookcases are spinning for no apparent reason, but it's real. They're doing it. So like the stage production kind of shines through there.
Yeah.
Whereas I imagine, I obviously haven't seen the stage production, but No Good Deed, I imagine if it is set in that castle, you a lot of it's probably left your own imagination on how that looks and feels.
Yeah.
Whereas in a film, you kind of have to show it because you're there. This isn't a stage play. I do think a lot of the problems come from wanting to be so faithful to the musical production here, in a way that just like seems somewhat confusing, but then I also get because I'm not a fan of the stage play. Well, not that I'm not a fan, I just haven't seen it, so I can't.
Unfortunately, from their point of view, I do think that being slavishly devoted to the stage show, how the songs sound,
Mm,
and how they're portrayed is probably from their point of view, a good decision. Um, Unfortunately, is a good decision because the backlash I think would have been quite high.
yeah,
The
but
fans
then
are very passionate.
the fans are very passionate, and obviously, I think it's obvious that part two is not getting the fanfare that part one did. But then I think fans of the stage play seem to be kind of like, well, it's just exactly what it is in this in the play, right?
Mhm.
Um, Elongated slightly.
Yeah, yeah. The Wizard of Oz stuff that's kind of not tagged on in this movie becomes a really big part of the second half of this film, and we're just rushing to really. It's like super glue. It's like we're really like, oh, okay, let's just meld this together. Yeah, I guess it connects. It gets us here. It gets Dorothy to where she
Mm,
needs to be. I guess Elphaba wakes up after sleeping with Jonathan Bailey and has a premonition that there's a house landing somewhere in
mm.
Munchkinland. Um, so all these bits are straining, wobbling to be connected, and it kind of reminded me a lot of the Rise of Skywalker a little bit. This
Yeah, like
in
how
that
do we
way,
fit the puzzle pieces into place? Like just jam them. Just jam
yeah.
them in.
I can
Like
feel a
it,
director standing in Munchkinland, with his hand over his chin, stroking it, going, looking at a set of props, and going, what do we do next?
yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. There's the
Which I think, all right, either all right, so the book to stage musical, the
sure.
adaptation was like not a lot of this book works for a play. We've got to completely change it to make it work as a stage musical. And I appreciate that people want a faithful adaptation of the thing that they love. But could they have considered potentially the adaptation from stage play to film? They might have to change a lot as well. And I appreciate you keeping the songs, etc., etc. But there's part of me that wonders if this should have been three films.
Yeah.
Part one, as it is.
Oh wow, 3 films. Yeah.
Wait for it. Okay, Wicked trilogy. Okay, part one, as it is. Part two, you got to obviously up the stakes, and I think this is where you got to change things. pretty much follows the storyline of part 2 up until, like, Glinda's wedding. Glinda's wedding should be the finale of part 2 of Wicked, of the sequel. This is in my mind, okay? You know, Elphaba is in the throne room with the Emperor. Sorry, I mean the Wizard of Oz,
The
and
Emperor.
has to
That's
has
funny
to
that you
decide
say that there. Yeah.
has to decide whether she is gonna join the dark side or not. And she's tempted slightly because he's kind of convincing. Jeff Goldblum's really good in this. I think his scenes are boring, but I think he's really good in the scenes.
I think sorry to derail you. I think apart
No,
from
no,
that
it's all good.
wonderful sequence that I like, I do think he's a bit asleep in part 2.
Oh, really? I think he's really good. I think he's really good.
Okay.
I liked him, and I was like, I wish he was given more to do.
Hmm.
And I chuckled throughout his scenes as well. That bit where he's just like, where she says, "Okay, but the animals have to be freed," and he turns around to Glinda and goes like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah. Done.
oh, ah."
Yeah. He
I
is good at
liked
that.
all
Yeah.
that. I liked all that. But I think the stakes, you rewrite part 2, so the stakes are higher in that finale section. You know, is the wizard true to his word? Is he not? And that does lead me to the question before I tell you what number 3 would be. Why does the wizard hate animals so much? Is it because they're smarter than the gullible racist humans of Oz?
So, from rewatching the first movie the other week, he says whenever they're caught in the act and Alphaba's confronting him and Morrible about the animals, he said, "Well, we need somebody to be an enemy. We need we have enemies out there, and
Mm,
we need a scapegoat, basically."
mhm.
Um, so um, yeah, it's just a way to. It's like trying to blame a war on somebody else for that you went for a war that you started. But we never see what the threat to Oz is, so it doesn't
Mm,
really make sense. Like we need scouts, we need we need people out
yeah.
there to have, but we've never once seen what this external threat is to Oz at all. And in our minds, it doesn't exist. It's just a hypothetical that's being talked about. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me at
No,
all.
there's no. I don't think there's any sort of defending it. I think it's just kind of an underwritten aspect completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we finished the film there. Elphaba has been tempted by the dark side, but she does not give in to it. She's shattered now her relationship with Glinda. She's stolen Fiero. She's won that fight, and Madame Marble is seeking revenge, in which she causes the tornado or the cyclone or whatever it
Oh
is.
yeah.
It ends with us seeing a house in the cyclone. The third film in the trilogy is a remake of The Wizard of Oz. Do not be so precious about a film from the 1930s, okay? Because it is a completely different story from what we now know because of everything that's happened in Wicked, even to the point where the Tin Man is a completely different, like, character,
Yeah.
essentially. He's like a
No.
monster. He's evil. He's terrifying. Love that, by the way. But I think, don't be so precious. The 1930s film is there. What they did here was kind of like, we kind of want to pay homage to the Wicked of Oz, to the Wizard of Oz, but also we don't want to like look too much into it because it doesn't really fit, but we kind of want it to fit. So this idea that like you see Dorothy but never see her face, but also it's got to like fit in. Like kids watching Wicked might never have seen the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And even if they have, it still doesn't make 100% sense in the context of this film. So remake it with the context of Wizard. Don't be precious. We've done it with many films. New technology, keep all the musical stuff. Wizard of Oz with new context and keep the Elphaba Glinda storyline running adjacent to it in that final film.
I think I think that's a good. I think it's an interesting idea actually. As somebody, I'm not too precious about the original film. That we've there's been different versions of the Wizard of Oz story, and that's fine that they can exist.
Mm.
So you're saying don't keep any of the original because it wouldn't work anyway. The original Wizard of Oz songs.
Oh, no, I'd keep all the original songs.
Oh no, I don't know about that. I think readapt the original Wizard of Oz story to fit
Yeah.
the Wicked narrative
I still
would
think
work
keep
well.
some of the songs and maybe make some new ones.
Yeah,
But maybe give Dorothy a little bit more agency. Maybe allow her to be manipulated by the world of Oz. and then by the end realizing that she's falling for propaganda, and maybe
Mm,
makes a pact with Elphaba to kind of enact the plan that they then do in The Wizard of Oz. So it's like a three-way plan. You
interesting.
know, Elphaba needs Glinda to feel a certain way. She needs Dorothy to act a certain way. And in doing so, they all kind of get what they want.
Yeah. Because I think that's a cool idea. I think you're so right. I mean, like, why are we trying to retrofit Wicked onto the original film anyway? Because they don't bear any resemblance. They don't bear any
Nah.
resemblance thematically or in terms of the characters. Like, you can't justify the Wicked Witch in the original 39 film because she is just, yeah, she's just evil. Like, that's just the way she is.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no, like, there's no other angle of looking at this thing.
No,
She, you
and it's
know,
all a dream as well in that
it's all
one,
a
you know?
dream, and it's like, do you know what's so weird? Like, that movie, its backgrounds are literally walls that are painted with yellow
Mm,
brick roads that go off into these caricaturish curvature mountains that go in the background
mm,
that don't exist. Yeah, I'm way more curious about what's on those fucking backgrounds and what's on the end of those backgrounds than I'm more curious in this world of this
mm.
CGI Wicked. You know, like how does that work? You know, it's strange that way. There's so much more mystery to that movie, I think. Um,
I would be so interested in them just going full hog and remaking The Wizard of Oz within this context. I'd be so interested in that. And maybe that's because I don't bear as much love for the original that I'm like, mess with it. But then, like, it's always there. The original's always there. And it's your favorite film. It's so many filmmakers' favorite film. It's
mm.
James Cameron's favorite film. Did you know that?
Oh, wow. No, I did not know that, actually. That
That
kinda makes
interview that I sent to you before the podcast on
mhm,
the
yeah.
town. It
Yeah, we were talking
talks
before the podcast
talks
about
about it there. He I think he mentions that in the early days, he was spoken to about directing Wicked.
wow. Wow. It would have somehow they're on a giant sinking boat by the end of the movie.
Mm. That being said, like, John M. Chu, the writers, obviously Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, you can tell there's a lot of love here. I don't think that anybody half-hearted the second part of this film, and I
I don't
appreciate it
think
was all
so.
filmed at the same time. Hence why they have like it seems like everybody in this film has like this kind of crazy emotional connection, which like I did a musical at school. It makes me sound like an idiot. Like I
No,
get
no.
that. I also did a musical at school. I did a musical at school. That's where I met M, and like the family feeling of that, and then the day after it all finished, man, I was devastated. I was devastated. We all have this connection, you know what I mean? So I get all the strong feelings, and they clearly did it for a long time because they're filming 2 films back to back, and they're kind of doing it like a theater production when they're having to learn dancing and singing and all that kind of stuff. I get all that. So I don't feel that anybody here has phoned it in for the second film. I just think it was incredibly difficult to adapt, and I think that's the
That's the
thing.
problem.
Then change it. You change the book to work for a play. You can change the play to work for a film, and I appreciate there will obviously be some diehard fans of the musical that would probably find that inconceivable. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, if it doesn't work on film, then you've kind of now got a Wicked for good, where everybody's going like, "Oh, okay, Wicked's over now," because like we all enjoyed part one, but then it just kind of ended.
There's sort of rumors that they're gonna return to it though, isn't there? They're gonna, like,
Is there?
yeah, I think I've heard that Universal might be elongating this a little bit. Sounds like a bad.
Do you know what? That's fine. I would be interested in that
But it makes you
because it would.
think, are we getting Stephen Schwartz, the original composer, to get back and write the songs? Because the 2 new songs he's written for this new film are not very good, let's just say. I would
The,
say they
gi-
sucked.
the girl in the bubble was fine. I thought
Can you
lots of
remember the
mirror
melody
stuff.
of that?
I don't remember the melody of it,
No.
but I think he was trying to keep it in theme with the rest of the film, which is like these songs are a little bit more like everything's gone to shit. You know,
Uh,
like it.
and I'm a major part of it. So no. Yeah.
I would be interested to see them explore this world without the baggage of the musical. That would be fine by me.
That is the big problem. Is there's a lot of baggage and And then it's just that. Maybe some musicals, some stage shows just shouldn't be movies, and that's
Mm,
fine, you know? It's a shame because the first half was a good I think the first half is still a good movie. I still enjoy it, and I think loads of people will I
uh-huh,
can see fans going back and repeatedly watching just part 1.
mhm,
I can imagine
mhm,
that being a thing, and you end on the high, and it's like, "That's cool."
yeah.
But Ah, and then, like, yeah, like, even the end of part 2, we're getting all the videos online of, people and recording the film in the cinema and, like, oh my god, they recreated the poster of the Broadway show as the last shot of the movie,
As
and,
we have in the thumbnail for this episode.
exactly. So we arguably we did even better. Um, but I love that sort of like I think it was a deleted scene actually from the first film that they put as that last scene in the movie.
Yeah,
Um,
alright, so in listening to our episode last time, I have a part in the podcast episode where I'm going on about this gorgeous looking scene that we see in all the flashbacks of their friendship with a sunset behind them, and I'm
yeah,
like, "Where was that?" Well, you see a lot more of it in
because
the
that was in
second
because that
film.
was in the trailer for the first movie, right?
Yeah, that looks
Yeah.
great. I thought it was a really gorgeous looking cinematography there.
It is, but it's also like I don't believe in all these people going to the woods together and hanging out for a day that we didn't see
Yeah, I know,
as a
yeah.
way to force us into believing that they all had a really deep connection, you know?
I agree. I
Is
agree.
yeah, you had Fiyero in the back of them, like, spinning in the like, with his arms in the air, and they're all having a picnic, and it's like, ugh,
I
yeah.
agree.
These
I
people, like, it's
agree.
quite interesting. I don't believe in any of these people together. Jonathan Billy, I'm pretty sure is, like, the same age as them all, right? But it always feels like
Yeah.
he's 15 years older than everybody else in this film.
Hey, leave him alone. He
Well,
is
no,
not an
no,
issue
but
in this
no,
film.
and not in that way. I mean, he's
Sexiest man of the year.
oh yeah, what was that? As long as you're mine. Um, pre pre uh non-sex sequence um of Elphaba and Fiero gliding in the air.
So I saw an article that popped up that said like the wicked sex cardigan is
Oh
thick threads back or something like that. Thick knits.
yeah,
I just thought it was funny. I saw that before the film, so I just saw wicked sex cardigan. Like what is going on?
yeah,
What happens?
it's like a 90s grunge pullover. Yeah.
I thought it was cool. I
I
don't know wicked sex cardigan.
just like to think of her in her spare time seething over everything that's happening, but knitting this sweater. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, interesting. And I'm like,
maybe.
yeah, like production designs, like, oh, where do we have her living during this period where she's angry? Let's put her in a tree. I
Mm.
guess that's
Is
good.
that where? What is that like in the stage play?
So that's a lot more like impressionistic, where
Mm.
it's just like no good deed scene. Like she's just like on her knees in front of like a cauldron, and there's like lights and smoke, and she's just doing like incantations with her hands, and it's a lot more just like her alone sort of thing. So
Mhm.
which works really well. So you're just kind of buying into the performance is larger than life, and I kind of my parts that I really enjoyed with Wicked, both films, and For Good, is I like Arrivo. I really like her a lot, and I do
Mm,
think that
mm.
she is. I'm relieved whenever she is in a scene in For Good when I'm away from Morrible and Grande and I'm with Arrivo for a while because I'm just like, well, even if the scene's not really working, at least she's doing the right things with her face all the time, and she's always
Yeah.
measuring. She's always measuring the moment correctly. I think. I think she's a really good
She
performer. Yeah.
she is the star of this the whole both part 1 and part 2 for me, like,
The
I
only
appreciate
person
that
who's never annoying, I would say.
I appreciate Ariana Grande is very good, like, I do get that.
Same,
Though
same.
in part 1 and part 2, it is difficult to separate her from Ariana Grande, like, I'm always looking at her, I'm like, "Ariana
A
Grande?"
pop star, yeah.
A pop star, and a very big pop star, which I get, like, potentially in the future, that might not be as big a thing to, like, a barrier to get into this film. Um, but yeah, Cynthia Erivo, I was just like, yeah, the makeup works for me. Her voice is insane. She's doing the most. Like, she's a star in this. I haven't seen her in that much else.
Yeah.
I think like Bad Times at the El Royale might be like the only
Oh,
other film I've
yeah.
seen her in.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen her as the Blue Fairy in the Robert Zemeckis Pinocchio.
Oh, okay, yeah,
You
that's
know,
true. I did see her in
she's the
that.
one
Let me have a
well,
look.
she's
Let's.
the one
I'll
saying,
tell you.
yeah.
I'll tell you exactly what I've seen her in. I just feel like I haven't seen her in that much. Oh,
I think
Widows.
she
Yes, okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I forgot she was in Widows. She was in the Luther film. I don't fully remember her in that.
Hmm.
Chaos Walking, the Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley film. I
Yeah,
thought that
yeah.
was okay, if I remember rightly.
I never
But
got
yeah,
around to
like
seeing it, yeah.
not seen her in much else to be fair. Yeah, she's good in Widows if I remember. I didn't love Widows overall, so maybe that's why I don't.
Oh, I liked Widows. Yeah.
Remember her as much. But yeah, okay. So she, to me, she is an absolute star. Voice insane. Everything that she's doing with the character, I think, is fantastic. I think she really brings Elphaba into her own. I think she's great. I probably don't feel exactly the same way for Glinda because, like, I think I had this. Well, I know I had this issue because I brought it up in the podcast on the first one. I think she's a terrible friend. I think she's really selfish, and I think for the most part, I know they try to change that at the end, but for like three quarters of both films, she is the villain. She is proper Glinda.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I think the movie does a decent job at, like I do think she's always going to be called into action at some point. I think she is just spending a lot of time mulling the whole thing over, and she's in a position where, to be honest, she is enjoying it, isn't she? At the beginning, you're right, and
Well,
Jonathan
she
Bailey
gets
even says that to her, like, "You can't resist this." At one point in the
mm,
film,
which I
um,
get because it's everything she's wanted. But at the same time, when you've seen behind the curtain and you still carry on with it, it's very difficult for me to feel any kind of empathy for you as a character.
it is hard because Alphaba is so ridiculously reasonable in both
Mm.
films,
She's like,
about
well,
everything.
that is bad, so therefore I must fight against it.
And
And
I'm
you're
the
like, yeah,
and I'm the only one that gives a shit enough to do anything about it. Yeah.
mm.
Mm.
And, like, Fiero's somewhere there. He's confused, but, like, he feels empathetic in a way of, like, "I don't know how to help. I really want to help, but I don't really know how." Whereas Glinda is just kind of like, "Just tell the truth."
Yeah. Do I really enjoy about, like, the Fiero thing is that Jonathan Bailey is ridiculously handsome, right? But
Oh,
usually any other movie or, like, fantasy that would do this with the character, we're waiting for the handsome guy to let her down and betray her and just be,
mm,
like, really ultimately disappointing. But it's kinda nice that he's not, right? It is kinda nice that he
yeah,
actually does go all the way.
yeah.
I like the subversion of that trope anyway.
I agree, I agree. And then the only other kind of the only person that isn't kind of doing the best here is Michelle Yeoh as Madame Marvel. She
Bless
is.
her heart.
And we know Michelle Yeoh can act, but her heart isn't in it here, in
Yeah,
a way that
she's
it feels awkward, unfortunately, and you just feel like this character who should be kind of the overarching villain, she's behind everything, you know, Madame Marvel, turn it around, WW, Wicked Witch,
Wicked Witch. Um,
Wicked Witch. Like, I don't know, I just feel like I needed somebody more evil and convincing in that role, and
yeah.
Michelle Yeoh just wasn't giving it to me. It felt potentially like just like a lack of confidence maybe in kind of going full pantomime here, which I think is what was needed.
Well, that's but that in the show, that character is pantomime, 100%, and she's like the a very they usually give that role to somebody like an older like sort of veteran of the Broadway stage, and she's got a very big
Mm,
voice, and it's like overtly evil. But here they kind of try to, "Oh, let's just kind of slim it down a little bit." I don't know if it's kind of like it could be that like the whole um John M. Chewy kind of like wants to honor an actor that he really is a big fan of, sort of thing.
mm,
I'm speculating, but it kind of feels that like, oh, we just really want Michelle Yeoh in the film, like we're excited about
yeah,
that. Still love her, but yeah, definitely
yeah.
stands out like a sore thumb, and solicited a few laughs from myself and Lauren when a couple of her line deliveries in the movie.
I know, which
Her
you feel
heart,
bad about.
you feel
You
bad
feel
about. I
bad
don't
about.
know. If, I feel like she just doesn't know. It's maybe it's just how she's directed, or lack
Mm.
of directed, or unsure of how to play the character. Really, yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah. But apart from that, like, you can't because it very much, you know, it was filmed at the same time as Part 1, you can't fault any of the performances. They're all They're all going for it, obviously, apart from Michelle.
Yeah. Really liked,
Everybody's going for it.
really liked your guy who played Bach. He does a lot with his time that he's on screen.
Yeah, and really surprised me here. Like his
Ethan
kind of
Slater, yeah.
more, yeah, it kind of turned into a more like monster movie for a second as we get the Tin Man. I found that really interesting. I thought that was a really interesting aspect of it. I thought the makeup looked great for him and Scarecrow.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Cowardly
I liked
Lion
it.
was a bit like I actually I did say I didn't notice, I I don't think it's in the show as well, but I said to Lauren, I was like, "Do you think the lion's gonna be the cub that she released?" I don't know how far away in the future this film is, but if it's like a
Oh yeah,
year, how old is that
I
lion now? I don't
ass-
confused by that.
that's true. I assumed it was from like how scared that lion cub was
Yeah,
during
yeah.
there.
I
I
love that. I
assumed
was
it
like,
was.
she messed me up because she let me out in the wild and she freed me, and I was exposed to too many things. So absolutely, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And people are like, yeah,
and
she sucks.
Peter Dinklage's goat teacher. He doesn't even get like a line in this film, does he?
Yeah, that could be a pay thing, or it could be just the fact that I don't think he speaks in the second half of the show either. To be honest, I
Yeah,
think he
I
just,
know, but
but still,
you got
yeah,
Peter Dinklage.
yeah.
He's got a
He just looks.
great voice.
There's no reconcile with him, is there? Because like she frees him from
Mm,
the cage, well, frees a bunch of them from the cage, and then they kind of the animals run away, and that's it. And we've
mm,
also what's also missing. So I hate keeping comparing this to the show because, but I feel like a lot of people listening will have been familiar with it. There's this idea that outside of Oz, there's a boundary of Oz, and outside of that boundary is just wasteland, like nothing. Like
mm.
it's almost like an hourglass where there's just sand and there's just nothing. You're in this ether of time, and the animals are like, "Oh fuck this, we're gonna go there." And Alpha's like, "But there's nothing there," and they're like, "Yeah, but it's better than here." I was like, "Is it?"
Yeah,
and
but she then ends up going there, doesn't she?
and I don't understand why, because from the looks of it, it doesn't even look like there's any food or water or anything. It looks like it's just
Well,
like
I kind of assumed that, like, beyond the world of Oz is our world, right? Like, where does Dorothy come from? Where does the wizard come from? How have they crossed over? So I almost saw it as like Elphaba and Fiyero kind of
this is the problem,
crossing
Alex.
the
The
barrier
problem,
between
Alex, is that
worlds.
the problem, Alex, is the Wizard of Oz was never designed to be a real, like a real thing, and they're trying to
Yeah.
make it a real thing, and it doesn't make sense.
Mm. Did
It
it make you
doesn't
wanna
make
read the book?
the original Wizard of Oz book or
No,
Wicked.
the Wicked book.
I am actually kind of interested. I am interested.
There's, like, sex clubs, apparently. Animal sex clubs.
Okay, checking out
No.
now. Oh, it's not on a Black Friday deal, but that's okay. Oh no. Yeah, that makes me very interested. No, that I mean like like no, it's very it's very interesting to have a reference point for something that you think you know very well and like having another angle of looking
Mm,
at it and seeing if it works better in that mold. Um yeah, I can't say I'm really disappointed because this is kind of how I always expected part two to be in my head. It's just that part one was so surprisingly good. I thought, maybe they might have something hidden up their sleeve, like a way to
mm,
tackle this that suddenly they've
mm.
cracked it. Turns out they didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I They were clearly beholden to the original source material. Well, not original
And I'm
source
not
material, but
sure that Wicked
the
fans really
musical source
care.
material.
I'm not really sure that Wicked fans, especially young Wicked fans, really care about the 39 film that much.
Exactly, exactly. I just didn't understand the trying to fit it into place. It just didn't work. And it ultimately, I think the biggest sin of this film is just like it's just a bit boring, isn't it? Like it's going through the motions. It doesn't feel nearly as kind of grounded and well structured as the first part of the film, and therefore you just kind of feel like you're speeding to an ending, but at the same time, every time there's a song that slows down the story, of which is like somewhat interesting,
Yeah.
but the pacing's all over the place because you're whipping through a story, then you stop for a song which is just adding like 5 minutes of moping, and then you're back to the story, and it's like, how do we fit this all together? How do we fit this all together? The end.
Yeah. Yeah. And, oh, one more thing, and it's super, super light on its feet, what I'm gonna say here. Extras, annoying. I hate every extra in this film.
Oh,
Every
really?
time it's like, the way the movie opens and we're in the Emerald City, and, like, I can tell that everybody in the dancing is dancing in the background, and everyone who's in Munchkinland, it feels like they got them straight from Broadway and put them on front of the screen, but Broadway's
Mm,
not cinema, and it's just like it's just like it just comes across very corny in front of the camera all the time, and anytime it cuts to anybody giving an extra a line or something, I'm just like, "Ugh, that's not nice." It's just
yeah.
like yeah.
That's it, Chris. Go off on the lowest paid people on this set.
I know, it's a shame. Well, it's not their it's not their fault. It's not their fault.
No, it's not their fault. It's not. Yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I do know one thing, Chris.
Mhm.
Because I knew you. Because I knew you. I have been changed for good.
We didn't talk about this.
But do you feel similarly?
Because I knew you. Alex, you're my best friend, and, I like to put this thing to bed.
Yep.
I feel that we've come out in the middle somewhere here. I feel that
Yep.
we've recognized each other. Um,
That's true. That's true.
I've ditched the fanboy, but I
Which,
reckon I'm not no, but like I don't want to be like I suddenly became a teenage boy, and I'm like I've put away my toys, and I'm too cool to play with this set of dolls anymore. I'm not at all. I still really like the first movie a lot, actually.
mm,
Although I was less surprised, and it's just the substance wasn't enough to enjoy the second viewing enough. The lack
hmm
of substance for a 2 hour 40 minute part one. Um, but part two is really like I'm gonna say I think it was bad, bad.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
And I've come around a little bit on part one, so I think we are
That's
meeting
nice.
somewhere in the middle where we can understand each other.
We
Each
deserve each other,
We do, we do.
me and Alex.
I can understand the elements that you love about that first film,
Yeah,
and but we both know that the second film is lacking. But in a way, with the second film lacking so much, it makes you appreciate the first part more.
100%. Because it actually even put shots from the first film and intercut them in this movie in backflashes,
Mm.
and you're like, "Ooh, that looks better." Instantly, you're like, the camera's doing something there. That's it.
Mm,
I feel like it was just missing energy, a lot of energy.
mm,
There was more cuts, quicker takes. It was like we were moving scene to scene faster. But it's kinda similar to that Rise of Skywalker thing. There's more shit in here,
yeah,
but there's more deflation, and I feel it in on the set, and I feel it behind the camera. If we're less confident about this thing. It feels
yeah.
there's I can tell this was made in the same year, but it feels different. It feels like we took a 5-year break and we didn't know how to get back to it.
That's yeah, I can get behind that. I can get behind that. I think this film isn't going to be remade anytime soon because a lot of people obviously love it and love the cast. So it's going to be a definitive version for a lot of people. But
Oh,
30,
yeah,
40
yeah.
years down the line, I think maybe we just need to like if we remake Wicked, I think we need to consider making it a 3 film
Muppets.
trilogy with the Muppets. Would the Muppets be a thing in 30 years? That's a different show
They are
altogether.
blast the Muppets. They are hanging on for dear life.
I know, and I try to support them every time they do a new
Dan?
thing on Disney Plus or a new show, and I'm just like, I want to support you, but like, I don't think anybody's fully understood the Muppets since Jason Segel did the Muppet movie in 2011.
Yet
Bring
they
him
also
back
yeah,
and
they
get him
also
to do more.
yeah, everybody slavishly watches Christmas Carol every year and loves it,
Mm,
but man,
but not enough people are watching the Muppets Wizard of Oz. I keep calling it Wicked of Oz.
It's
What
like
is wrong with me?
you know what? They recently got rid of the Muppets Vision, I think it was called. It was like 3D event in Disney World,
I
and
think I've been on that.
yeah, and I just
Yeah.
remember like day of hot rides and everything like that, and like taking a break going in that little cinema. And there's only 10 of us in there in this big, massive auditorium. And then I was just like, oh, laughing for like my ass off for 15 minutes at like Miss Piggy doing a narcissistic musical number by herself and kicking her like prop. I'm just like, this stuff is so funny. Like, how is this became unfunny to people?
I mean, they still pop up every now and then, and clearly a lot of people have a lot of great reverence for them. I hope this wasn't AI, but I'm pretty sure Miss Piggy was at a Sabrina Carpenter gig.
I get it.
You know, she like arrests people in the middle
Oh
for
yeah, she
like
gives the
being too hot.
handcuffs out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she arrested Miss Piggy.
That's funny. Yeah.
Now that I'm saying it out loud, it makes me sound like I've been fooled by AI, but that sounded like a thing that happened in one of her gigs.
If it hasn't happened, I wish it happened. That sounds
Because
great.
like other celebrities have been there, haven't they?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Miss Piggy was there.
I love the Muppets.
See, if it's transferring into Sabrina Carpenter's fan base,
Yeah.
there's a place for the Muppets.
Like they did that thing, was it called? Was that Muppets Vision or what was the TV show they had on Disney Plus? But when they did the thing with the Swedish chef where he had his own cooking segment, I mean
Oh,
that was
so good,
like just give me one of those every week for the rest of my life and I'll be happy.
so good. That was the Muppet Show. They then did an animal show. It was
Mm,
like a band show. Anyway, this has gone off wicked, which probably leaves us to maybe tie this episode together now.
okay.
Tied?
Tied. Yeah, tied.
Tied.
It's like it's a severe drop off from number one. I do think that some diehard people who just really love Wicked, who you aren't the biggest, casual cinema goers that just really love this property and love the songs and love the show. Well, then you're gonna get what you want, I think, out of
Yeah.
this.
It is still event cinema, isn't it? Which is what is bringing the masses to the cinema, and I can appreciate that. I wish, obviously, the offerings were more interesting, but I'm always up for a film that brings more people and different people that might not go to the cinema every week or every month. Like that's always good.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can't help but watch something and think that, whenever you can see a scene and you're like, I can think of 10 different ways that this would be better. That's
Yeah.
always never a fun feeling.
No. Were your audience good this time?
Yeah, there was somebody who was just like enjoying the sound of their packet,
Yeah,
crinkling
we
the
had that.
entire movie.
So for the first hour, absolutely fine. I was like, great, we've timed this great. Good audience, this is good.
Yeah.
And then after that first hour, there's a guy to the left of us, a few seats down, just got his phone out every like 10 minutes. And it was just a quick glance. And the first couple times you're like, okay, just chill out. But then it was just like, God, I'm embarrassed for you. You can't put your phone away for 10 minutes, man. Like, or like even for the whole film, technically you should be able to put your phone away for like 2.5 hours. So just like, come on.
I didn't tell you about the one I had a couple months ago. They did a release of Perfect Blue, and
Mm.
which was great.
Oh, I need
So
to watch that, yes.
oh, it's so good. And we went to see that in the View in Plymouth, and it was quite a busy screening. And it's quite a quiet movie,
Mm.
very like intense, quiet moments where there's just no soundtrack and you can just hear the film. Um, you can even just hear the film running. But there was a very weird gentleman by himself behind us who was eating popcorn in a very different way. He was eating all the non-cooked bits, like just the corn, like just the corn kernels, and
How'd you know this?
all I could hear was the bite into
Well,
everyone and the entire film, and I was actually driving me mad. It actually
Israel.
hindered my enjoyment of the film because it was just like all you would hear is like someone like getting like a nutcracker every 20 seconds and going and I was like
Oh
and then
my.
and like you knew he was weird because as soon as the
Yeah,
movie
yeah,
ended he kind of did a part he did a semi sprint out of the screening and you're like, oh, it's always the one.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially with like re-releases and stuff. You think we're all here because we have some kind of affiliation or feeling for this film, right? And
Yeah.
if not, it's because we want to see it on the big screen for the
Well,
first
exactly.
time. You almost feel like those screenings should be more sacred.
I'm
But
paying a premium price to see a film that I could watch at home now for free.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always disappointing. It's the dice you roll. I think you know, it's just the years we live in now. It's just like you roll the dice every time you go to the cinema now, and it's just like, oh well, you just. I hate having to strategize my time. Like I had to strategize
Mm,
going to see Wicked. We were like, right,
mm.
Lauren, we're gonna get up. We're gonna go. We're gonna get a little breakfast. We're gonna be at the screen by 10 a.m. It's gonna be dead, and it was better, but I'm glad we didn't see it the first weekend. Let's just say.
Yeah, obviously, we had Jean Dillman to review. Everybody go
Mm.
back and listen to the episode if you haven't
Yeah,
listened to it
yeah.
already. Come on. But yeah,
I had
I
oh,
was happy not to get it first weekend. I went midweek late on a Wednesday, thinking that would be the best one, and it was for the
that's
most
good.
part good, apart from Mr. Phone Guy to the left.
I also had a Wicked limited edition icy.
Oh, nice. Was it pink and green?
I had a mix. We both had a mixture of pink and green. Yeah,
What were the flavors?
it was just like a very sickly, not sugar free apple and like a
Ooh.
candy floss.
Oh, I was kind of hoping it would be like a lime. Like a lime and strawberry would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was apple. It was a green apple.
I'm not a fan
Yeah,
of like that kind of synthetic apple flavor.
I agree. I agree. But it was there. I had it.
Cool.
It got me in the mood.
Anyway, I think we've tied up
Yeah,
Wicked for good.
for
For
good.
good this
Yeah,
time. Uh, Join us next week, which is probably going to end up being our final episode of the year. We're going to take a
yeah.
little bit of a Christmas break after next week. But next week, we're going to come back and do our top 10 films that have been blind spots for us during our Sight and Sound Greatest Films of All Time series.
Wow.
So come back there where we put a little fancy bow tie on
Hmm.
that series, which, as we mentioned last week, because assuming you've all listened, come on, guys, was 3 years in the making.
We will deliver. Maybe. I'm actually really excited because I still have to work on that list a little
Mm.
bit. So brush it up, tidy it up a little bit more. But I think we're gonna have some really interesting like swapping and sharing of films here. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what your picks are, especially Alex.
Yeah, and to just celebrate the last 3 years of our lives.
That's all we have.
But that has been the episode for this week. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to leave us a 5-star rating or review. We do really appreciate it. And if you'd like to keep up to date with us, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Film Angle.
We also have a Film Angle playlist. If you want to listen to what we listen to, you can find that in the show notes, and it's not wicked. Be sure to catch us next week for more cinematic discussions. See you later. Goodbye, Alex.
Thanks, Shiz. Goodbye.
Didn't I just wait one clock tick? Go on. See you later. Bye.